Wifite is a Python script for auditing wireless networks. Wifite runs against wireless auditing tools, saving us the need to memorize command argument and switches. So we can basically say that Wifite is script kiddie friendly. Wifite uses all known methods for retrieving the password of your router wireless access point. These methods include the offline pick the dust attack and online brute force pin attack for cracking WPA security. And for WPA, it uses it captures the WPA handshake or uses the PMKID hash capture using and then crack it offline. So to break WEP, Wifite uses a variety of non-attacks such as fragmentation, chop, and airplay. And using Wifite is really very simple. So the first thing we are going to do, we are going to install Wifite on Kali Linux. So and then to do so, we are just going to just go to Google and then search for Wifite. So Wifite 2. Wifite 2, which is a rewrite of the Wifite the version 1 that was initially released. Okay, so just search Wifite 2 and then GitHub and then you hit enter. So we have the first link here and then click on it. All right, so this is the GitHub page of Wifite 2. Okay, so so what we are going to do, we are going to get the repository link and then go and clone it in our OPT directory. So I'll come to the terminal and then navigate to the OPT directory. So why are we using OPT directory? OPT directory is an ideal location for installing third-party applications. So any application that, especially applications that you don't need to install on the Kali Linux. So whenever we have any third-party application, we can just clone it from GitHub and place it in the OPT directory. And whenever we want to make use of it, we can easily navigate to the OPT directory and then get to that application and make use of it. So I'm going to clone the Wifite 2 in this particular repository. So I'm going to enter sudo command and then git clone and then I will enter the repository link. I'll paste it here and then I will just hit enter. Alright, so I already have it in my OPT directory, so I just go ahead and then clone it into your OPT repository. Alright, so now I can navigate into the Wifite 2. Okay, so let me type ls to make sure that I have it inside there. Alright, then I can now navigate into it, cd Wifite 2. Alright, so I'll clear the screen, clear the terminal, and ls. So basically to run it, I will now need to plug in my alpha card, my external network interface card, and I'm using alpha AWS AWS that is AWS NH. I'm going to plug the alpha card into my Kali Linux into the host. And then which will automatically, since I'm on the VM virtual machine, so it automatically plug into the virtual machine. So you can just come to devices USB and you can see that it is already plugged into the Kali Linux. This is the chipset Ralink. It is using Ralink chipset. This Ralink chipset is for the alpha card that I have just plugged now. All right, so let me clear the okay. So then to run this Wifite 2, I'm going to run this this particular Wifite.py, which is executable file. So I'll just enter sudo, and then I'm going to I'll put a /, then I can Wifite, use tab completion, and then I can issue this switch -- or before we go further, let's type -h to see all the commands that we can use alongside Wifite 2. So these are the various commands options that we can use alongside Wifite to make use of Wifite 2 to crack access wireless networks. So we have -h -help, which is the command I've just entered to see this particular help menu, and then -b to verbosity show more options, print commands and output. And the default is quiet. And then we have -I to specify the interface that we want to use, especially if we have more than one external network interface card plugin. Then we can use the -I interface to specify which of the network interface card we want to use, and then -C to specify a channel, and then -mark random mark to randomize wireless card, that is the card MAC address. All right, so these are the various options that we can use alongside this the Wifite 2. All right, so the one that I'm going to use right now is I'm going to make use of --kill to kill any process that complete with AM1 NG, because now I plugged in my card and I didn't set it to monitor mode. And for us to capture packets, and especially if we want to perform attack against access point, we need to have our external network card in monitor mode. So, and then there are some processes that can interfere with the monitor mode now. So as we cover that in our previous lectures, when we use AM1ng check kill command to kill any process that can interfere with our network interface card being in monitor mode. So I'm going to use --kill switch to kill any process that will interfere with our card being in monitor mode. So I'm going to reissue the command again. So let me just make use of the off arrow key to access the last command I ran. I just need to remove this -h. Then I'm going to use --kill to make sure that any process that is going to interfere with our card being in monitor mode, I'm going to kill that particular process. And then now I'm going to also specify the word list. As you can see, we can use the command -dict followed by a file name that we want to use to if we have word list for password cracking. So -dict file containing password for cracking. And also Wifite 2 come with its own default word list that we can see here in this particular directory. Word list top 4800 probable.txt. All right, so that is what I'm going to do now. --kill, and I don't need to specify any interface card, since I'm only using one interface card that is currently plugged into the machine now. So I'm going to make use of --dict. So let me open a new tab to get the path of the absolute path. The path, yes, the directory where I have my word list location. So cd, let me go to the home directory, Faisal, and then to the Faisal home directory, and then ls. Let me see the so I'm going to make use of this Wi-Fi password txt as we use it in the previous lectures. So I'm going to make use of this as my word list for password cracking. All right, so that is what I'm going to do now. I'm going to using the --dict option, and then I'm going to specify the path to my word list. So is it let me get the name again. Wi-Fi password.txt. Okay, so Wi-Fi password.txt. So Wi-Fi password.txt. So basically, I'm running this command now, sudo, and then I am now trying to call that particular executable script, which is wifite.py, and then --kill to kill any process that will interfere with our network interface card being in monitor mode, and then --dict, an option to specify the word list that I want to use for cracking the wireless access point. Okay, so I'll just hit enter, and then using Wifite is as easy as this. So it is going to put my network interface card in monitor mode, and then it's going to kill, as you can see, it has killed any completing process that will interfere with our interface card. And then now it will put the network interface card in monitor mode. All right, and then now it will start scanning the access point, trying to see which AP are available. So if we're having trouble trying to gain access to the access point, so what I'm going to do, I'll just stop the Wifite by using Control C, and then I'll remove the card and then plug it back and then try to run the command again. Sometimes we experience this with this alpha card. So what I'm going to do, I'm making this to use of Control C to stop it, and then I'll unplug the Wi-Fi card, alpha card, and then reflog it back again, and then run the command again. So now I'm going to unplug the USB card and then alpha card, and then I'm going to replug it back again. So basically now I'm going to run the commands again. So I'll just make use of the up arrow key to access the command I ran previously. So this is the command I ran. So I'll just hit enter again. Alright, so now it has started assessing the, we have gotten one target access point, and we have gotten the other target access point, which we are aiming to crack. And as we can see, the pound access point that we are trying to attack, you can see that it has find to target one. Okay, so it has also it has WPS enabled, while the other access point, which is not the one we are aiming to attack, does not have WPS enabled. So and the Wifite 2 will attempt to perform attack against both WPS and WPA. So we are going to see it's going to give us some some options to select which of the Wi-Fi access point we want to attack. So to proceed, I'm going to press Ctrl C and then press Ctrl C. When I enter Ctrl C, it's going to give me option to select, and then I'm going to select the option and then the option of which of the access point that I want to attack, and then when I select it, then it will proceed to start attacking the particular access point. Okay, so now I'm going to give me option to select the target that I want to attack. So I'm going to attack the pound network, which has the ID of number 2. So I'll just simply enter 2 and then I'll hit enter. Okay, so it's now going to attempt several types of attacks, and one of the attacks is the PixDDoS WPS PixDDoS attack. But so far, in my experience using Wi-Fi 2, I haven't been successful using either of the attacks. So the most reliable attack against these WPA networks is using by capturing the WPA handshakes, just the one we did using error dump ng, and then we crack it using air crack ng. So basically this is the most successful type of attack that will be also carried out by Wifite 2. So and then this all other this type of attacks is going to take much of our time. So if you you can try the attacks to see how they work, to see whether you'll be able to successfully crack the access point using those type of attacks. But I'm not going to waste much time on this. I'm going to enter the Ctrl C, which will interrupt the attack, and then it will give me option whether to proceed or to discontinue. So then I will continue. When I select continue, then it will continue with the next type of attack. So I'm going to enter Ctrl C. Then do I want it to give me the option, do you want to continue attacking or exit? So I will select continue, and then it will say continue with the next type of attack. So now so far it has attempted WPS PixDDoS attack, it has attempted WPS pin attack. Okay, so now it is attempting the PMKIDI capture attack. So and after doing the PMKID capture attack, then it will proceed with the WPA handshake capture attack. Alright, now it's now attempting to capture handshake using the and then attempt to crack the WPA handshake. So basically what it's going to do is going to find a client that is connected to this network, and then temporarily deauthenticate it, and then capture the handshake that is going to occur between the client and the access point, and then crack it using air crack ng, just as we did in our previous lectures. We capture handshake using error dump ng, and then we crack the handshake using our air crack ng. So basically that is the same thing that is going to do, only that everything is being automated here. You don't need to run the commands yourself. You just run Wifite, and then Wifite will proceed to carry out all the attacks automatically for you. As you can see, it has finished with the MKID capture, and it wasn't successful. Now it then proceed to the WPA handshake capture, and then but it found that there exists already a handshake for this particular network, found network. There exists a handshake for this particular access point in the directory HS with the name handshake dash underscore pound, and then up to the end. So there exists already. Before it capture a handshake, it will first of all check that particular directory. Now, if there exists a handshake that has been captured for that particular access point, then it won't need to capture the handshake again. And then it proceeds to analyze the handshake with 4 programs: T-Shack, Pirate, Cowpity, and Aircrack. And some of the T-Shack and Cowpity were correctly identified that this is a valid handshake for this particular access point. T-Shack identify the handshake with identify the access point using its MAC address, while Cowpity was able to identify the handshake using the network name of the access point with the access point name, all right, which is the pound access point. And while Pirate and Aircrack yield what we call a false negative, because they couldn't identify that, although we know this is a valid handshake, but Pirate and Aircrack were not able to validate the handshake. And then it will proceed to now crack the handshake using Aircrack NG with the word list that we passed to it. Because while running the, if you can remember, while running the command, we passed a word list to it. So it was successfully able to find the password from the word list using Aircrack NG, and the password is password 123 ampersand, as we can see it. And then it gives a summary of the whole attack. So it gives us the name of the access point, the MAC address of the access point, and the type of encryption employed by access point, which is WPA, and then the handshake file that has been captured, and then the password that was correctly guessed using the word list. And then it just give us a summary of the whole attack. And so you can see that using Wifite is trivial. You don't need to master any command. So basically, you just pass the command. You just pass the first. You only pass one command. Wifite, run the Wifite, and then perhaps you might need to use it with dash kill option to kill any process that will interfere with the access point being in monitor mode, and then you pass a word list. Now, if the access point password exists in the word list, then using any of those attacks, the Wi-Fi will be able to identify the password. So it begins with WPS fix the dust, then proceed with WPS pin attack, then it now attempted PKMID capture, and then the only attack that was successful was the WPA handshake capture. And it used the word list that we passed on to it to correctly identify the password of that particular access point.